Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck athletics.
We will do that on a lot of different subjects today. The Ducks are officially in what we call crossover season. That means football. A lot of the fall sports are continuing. Cross country getting ready for nationals. Oregon volleyball in the second half of Big Ten play. But Oregon women's basketball started the season 1-0 last night. And Oregon men's basketball begins the season tonight at 7:30 at Matthew Knight Arena against Hawaii. I will have a call with Luke Jackson. The call with Luke Jackson coming up tonight. A 7 o'clock start for Oregon against Hawaii. How about women's basketball last night, though? Kelly Graves just does it again, huh? The Oregon women, I was talking to Chris Clayton this morning. I sent him a text. I said, hey, broadcast day after welfare check. And he was like, I feel pretty good. Chris was like, I really like this team. Kelly Graves moving now to 12-0 in season openers. Kelly Graves era, always starting out on a high note when you go 12-0 in season openers. We'll hear a little bit from the Oregon women coming up later on today's show. Congratulations to the Ducks, though, starting out with a 1-0 record. Meanwhile, men's basketball tonight. That 7:30 tip-off at Matthew Knight Arena. Hope to see a lot of you there. It's also on Big Ten Network, 7 o'clock pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Look, Oregon did not play well against Stanford. The Ducks said that. Dana Altman said that. You heard a little bit of it yesterday talking about the season preview for the Oregon men. Ducks are hoping for a bounce back now in a counting game. They went 1-1 in the exhibition season, but the official record is 0-0. That's what the exhibitions are for. Now the Ducks, it counts tonight, 7:30 against Hawaii on Matthew Knight Arena's Kilkenny floor. Dan Lanning also met with the media last night. The Oregon football head coach. Every time we talk with Dan Lanning, it's brought to you by our friends at the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. The truth is that this is a game that I have been looking forward to for a lot of different reasons that we'll cover over the next few days here on the show. I think this is a great test for the Ducks. Both teams are coming off a bye. Iowa's going to get up for this one. You know that Iowa's going to get up for this one because it seems like every team at this point gets up for the Ducks. And why shouldn't they? Oregon has consistently been one of the best teams in the country this year. Last year, under Dan Lanning, it's a good place to be. Head coach Dan Lanning meeting with the media, getting ready for a road trip to Iowa with a 12:30 kickoff.
It's a good weekend this past weekend, watching our cross-country teams dominate and go win the Big Ten. I got to visit with Rob about that a little bit this past weekend while we were on the road recruiting. And obviously basketball season kicking off. Our women are winning right now over at Matthew Knight, and guys teeing off tomorrow. So excited for this part of the season for us. Our guys have been working really hard. I've got a ton of respect for this Iowa team. You see veterans across the board, and how they play. They're a real complete team, and they're a team that beats you in all three phases. Really tough in special teams with the return play that they have. Probably the best returner in college football right now. Their defense, they choke you out. They do a great job of taking away easy access. Their defensive line really stands out to me on film with the technique that they play with, and just in general the way they fly to the ball. And then they run the ball really well, and they have a quarterback that's dynamic with the ball in his hands. So it's going to be a real challenge for us in a great environment in Iowa. And obviously Coach Ferentz does a really good job, so we can open it up.
You always say the bye weeks or work weeks. What was the main objective for you guys this past week, and how do you feel about where this team's at going into this final stretch of games?
Yeah, I really like the work that our guys got in. This past week, I think we found some things that we could grow from. I talked a little bit about it, last week, just our ability to jump into some self-scout, attack some things that we felt like we could improve, and then really identify what's going to show up with these upcoming opponents. In my mind, we're kind of in the third quarter of the season with what we're facing, and there's some great teams that we're going to see over the next few weeks, and Iowa certainly sets that off. I'm shocked this team isn't ranked. If you look at the way they've been playing, especially recently, and the job that they've done, they jumped out really fast against a Minnesota team that plays good football, had a big win this past weekend. So I think this team probably is not getting near enough credit that they deserve for the kind of team that they are.
We heard from Jaleel. He said he decided to enter the transfer portal yesterday. It's just what have you seen from him through a few years here, and then what was that conversation like with him? In that decision?
Thrilled with Jaleel's contribution to our team. Was a positive teammate. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. I think he was looking for a reset, and wish him a great future.
Yeah, you mentioned their quarterback being dynamic with the ball in his hands. What have you seen from him as a passer that kind of gives you pause?
Yeah, I mean, they do. Their run game's really good, and they do a great job complementing their run game with play action game. They're as good as any team that we've played so far in the screen game as well, and he's got some weapons that he can throw to. But he's able to push the ball down the field, and then he can make you accountable with his legs. If everything's covered, he can take off with it, and he carries it in critical situations. He's obviously been a winner in the past and is operating really well for them.
Just what makes this, Iowa defense, it's always been historically really, really good, but especially this year, and you had an extra chance to take a look at the tape, just what makes it especially threatening this season?
Well, they're extremely well coached. I mean, that shows up. There's not weaknesses. They're very sound. Like I said, I think it all starts with their defensive line and the way they play up front. They eat up a ton of blocks up front. They're really aggressive. They're hard to get to the second level on because they do such a good job with the defensive line. Their safeties do a great job supporting the run, and their backers scrape and fit really well. And they put their guys at times on islands, and you don't see people take advantage of it because they perform really well outside. So it's just tough. It's a suffocating defense. They do a good job.
Kind of following that, because it's not just a one-year thing with them. How is it that Phil has it where nobody really takes the top off of them for not just this year? That's just kind of a hallmark of their defense, that they just don't allow very long plays.
Yeah, I think they know the strengths and weaknesses of what they do, and they probably work those weaknesses a ton in practice. I can't speak to how they practice or what they do, but I think they understand they're going to put guys at times in position to where they got to go make plays, and those guys consistently make those plays. I think you see a defense that's always aware of where the ball's at, and they attack the ball. When they get an opportunity, they create a lot of takeaways. I mean, that happened obviously in the Minnesota game for them. They just do a really good job of attacking the ball and winning their one-on-one opportunities.
Just checking on Dante and how he's progressing through the bye after missing the end of that last game.
Yeah, doing great. He's been at every practice.
Starting fast is on offense is something that's been a little bit of a struggle over the past few weeks for you guys. How important is that in this game, going into a tough environment against a really good defense?
Well, it's not the most important thing, but I think it's always easier when you start off fast. But a team like this, it can be tough, to create winners. And they've won, a lot with field position. They've always been really good in special teams. So just as important as making sure you'd love to go down there and score quick, but that's not the way it always plays out. I do think it's important that we win in a lot of the phases that they're really good at. We got to be good in special teams. We got to be able to run the ball effectively, stop the run, got to protect the ball. In any of those categories, if they do a really good job in those areas, it makes it hard for us to have success.
Yeah, just on the inside linebackers, you've had a little bit of rotation at the second spot. What are the benefits those different guys get you, and how are the guys that are come back from injury doing?
Yeah, doing good. I think it's always a benefit when you have more than one player or two players that can play, winning football. So when we have each guy has a different dynamic, they do different things well. But we have a group there that's been really well prepared by Coach Mike. They work really hard, and if they can help us, we want them out there on the field for us.
With conference realignment, this will be the closest game that you'll get to play to home. Knowing that, does it feel like going into this week that it feels like a home game for you, knowing how many people that you'll probably have there supporting the Ducks?
I can promise you, being at Kennett before I was a GA when we were at Pitt and we played them, it's not going to feel like a home game. It's a cool environment, though. This is one of those ones that you get excited to get the opportunity to play in front of, and I'm sure I'll have some family and friends there. But this environment, it's a great one. They do it the right way. Obviously, with the Children's Hospital, a lot of their pieces, pink locker rooms, right? There's a feel to this one, and it means a lot to the people in Iowa. They turn out really well for this game, so I'm expecting a great crowd.
Mentioned the defensive line being one of the strengths of this team. What goes into getting your O-line, Dante, even the tight ends and running backs who are going to have to help out, prepared for that type of challenge when it is going to be what they're coming after you with on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it starts with the look we get in practice, and we have to give an outstanding look with our look teams. They do a good job, and then the good on good periods that we have. I think that's where it starts. You got to press in those areas, and then we have to be able to. It's a a game where you're going to have to carry a variety of plays to figure out what's going to be successful. And then once you figure it out, that's something you have to come back to.
What makes Wetjen that good in all phases of the return game? And is he the best return guy that you've seen, not just in the 2 years in the Big Ten, Dan, but even going back to years in the SEC? Because there's just very few guys who do both.
Yeah, I think it starts that he's fearless, especially in the punt return game. He catches everything, and he's not looking to fair catch. He's looking to take off. But his stop-go is really impressive. He's a really strong runner. Obviously, he's been dynamic for them in the passing game as well. They find ways to get him touches early. But the ability to stop and go, similar to like Tez was running full speed in 5 yards for us a lot. This guy can be running full speed in 5 yards. He doesn't need 20 yards to get to full speed. And change of direction, strong runner, big lowers. And then fearless as a returner to catch the ball. He's looking to create dynamic plays and has done that for him.
You mentioned it with the Children's Hospital, a little bit bigger than football. I mean, you guys have been very open about the cancer support. They're obviously very into that as well. How kind of cool is that to see that in another program and to kind of share that with them?
Oh, it's got to be one of the greatest traditions in college football. To realize that just, a few yards away from you, there's some guys that are fighting a battle that matters a lot more than the game. But for a Saturday every week that they get to, maybe be somewhere else than other than that hospital is a pretty cool moment.
During the Cell Scout, you don't have to say what you may have picked up or noticed in the Cell Scout by any stretch, Dan, but were there things that you saw in terms of commonalities with, it's a given, tougher opponents make it tougher to have success offensively? That's a pretty strong correlation. But have you seen why perhaps against some of the better defenses there were or have been issues? Where there were things that you picked up on?
Yeah, more so we were able to see issues and why there were issues, not necessarily just dictated by opponent, but that's the way football is. When you play better opponents, it can be tougher.
I thought that was honestly an interesting perspective, and it makes sense, right? Talking with Coach Lanning there, brought to you by the William Valley Cancer and Student Research Center. The better opponents are always going to expose those weaknesses, right? Like that's what makes teams great, is if they can make you play left-handed, right, has always been the common phrase. And I feel like against this Iowa team, that's something that I'm really looking forward to, is two teams that pride themselves on physicality, that pride themselves on being detail-oriented. You think about the focus on special teams. That's important. Maybe we'll talk special teams and changing the game with the Oregon Athletic Director. Rob Mullens just walked in, timeout. He's going to get settled. We'll come back for Athletic Director Tuesday after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. So good to see you real.
always say that the broadcaster sounds good when the team is good, and that's continued to be a theme of these conversations. For Athletic Director Tuesday, Athletic Director Rob Mullens with us in the Country Financial Studio. The Athletic Director looks good when the teams are good too, right?
The email flow is on the positive side when we're winning games.
Well, let's start then with how about winning championships? Big Ten cross-country champions, the men of Oregon and the women of Oregon, and the individual title on both sides. That's pretty cool for cross-country.
Oh, very cool. When the leaves change, you get from October to November, we're in championship season, and here we go.
Yeah.
And we're there, and what a phenomenal performance up in East Lansing by both teams, and, record-setting on the women's side. But both, and then cross country's tough because you got to peak for that, 2 weeks off, and then you peak again for the regionals, and then a couple weeks off, and then you got to peak for the championship. So it's a tough postseason in that sport.
Well, and 8 conference championships last year, team conference championships last year. Already 2 this year. It's a good start, huh?
A great start, and a fun way to do it. And it was fun to see that on the Big Ten Network. And you can tell just by all the photos and the post-race celebration amongst the teams, the culture that Jerry and Shalane have going there, and how they really support one another.
On that point, it is a little unique in that it is a team sport, but it can be so individual-based.
Yeah, we have, the one neat thing about college athletics in a few of those sports, right? We have a few sports where if you compete beyond here, you're really going to be an individual, and it's an opportunity to be a part of a team and have team results. And let me look at our women's side. We had 6 first-team All-Big Ten, 6 of the top 10, which is just amazing.
Yeah, for those unaware, it's the all-conference awards in cross-country. It's just where you place, right? Makes it pretty easy. It's just where you place. Kind of removes the subjectivity from the whole thing. Which is,
winning, you're in. That's right.
It's a little bit nice to have that. But the truth is, it's Tracktown USA, but I'm glad that you brought up, though, the culture, though, Rob, because I think it's so unique to that sport and tennis and golf, as you alluded to, right, where you have that camaraderie, and just the celebration photo alone is worth everything.
Yeah, the celebration photos, the post-race interviews, you can see, kind of the love that team has for one another. And the other thing about cross country is there is a team element to it. There is strategy of, the runners and how you position yourself when you move and all that stuff. And obviously we have 2 of the greatest tacticians as coaches ever.
And I love the 2 that Coach Schumacher even said, they've been building to this, right?
Right.
This was part of the larger strategic plan, which sometimes that's hard to do, right? To zoom out in that way.
Very hard to do, with that training and, the kind of mileage that they put in. And then you still have to have it peak. You travel to East Lansing, you don't know what the weather's going to be, and you got to peak at the right time. Because as you said, everything in that sport's about what you do on that day.
Right, just that day. Well, congratulations to the Ducks. Hopefully first of many Big Ten conference honors that we talk about here with Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. Now football season. How'd you spend your bye week?
I was following cross country very closely.
Yeah.
Obviously catching up on a lot of things, both in the office and at home.
Outside, yep.
But just getting ready for that big push. Basketball starts. And then the push through all the championship season from the fall.
Get ready for Iowa. We were talking about this during the break. You have not been there, right?
I have not been to a football game at Iowa, no.
Yeah, so the only time that I have now been to Iowa was when it was -3 degrees when the men's basketball team was there. That's not -3 Celsius, by the way. That was -3 Fahrenheit. And then Oregon baseball, the last time I was there, talk about Big Ten conference championships and good memories, there were some good memories for Oregon baseball at Iowa. So here's hoping that this one continues and it's more good memories for the Ducks at Iowa. I have a feeling that this might be one where there's a lot of fans that turn out too.
Yeah, Rutgers was just unbelievable, and this is the first time I've been on since Rutgers. But by the third quarter at Rutgers, it was green and yellow, and the Go Ducks was just awesome. So, but Iowa will be sold out. Really difficult place to play. Incredibly supportive fan base. But yeah, there will be some green there for sure.
Rob, we talked about this briefly with just the fan turnout last time you were on, but in the move to the Big Ten, it's given an opportunity for a lot of fans across the country now to come to these games. It's one thing to say that. To me, it's been another thing this season, especially to see it.
No, I agree. And, last season, when you go to the big house, obviously people want to experience that. But when we're playing at Purdue on a Friday night, there was a strong presence. We're playing a game at Rutgers, really strong presence. So, no doubt, it has given fans from all over the country a chance to get out. And, I feel like they're all there when the bus arrives. When we pull into these venues, you see the green and yellow. You hear them in the stands, and then they stick around after as well. Listen, we have a phenomenal fan base. One of the great things about the move to the Big Ten is we get to reconnect with some of those who can't get to Autzen every Saturday. So it's been fun to see.
Something that's also stuck out to me, and there are people much smarter than me on the campus side of the river here in Eugene that can speak to this even better. But you think about, too, the growth of our alumni base.
Sure.
And how, in my opinion, I might be a little biased, Rob. In my opinion, athletics has been a huge reason for a boom in added alumni, right? Like, it's the window into campus. A lot of people come here because they see the Ducks succeed in a sport, right? And I've seen that the last 10 years. It really feels that way.
No doubt. Obviously, when you have success and visibility, it helps in recruiting. But it also, successful athletics, it kind of brings people together. Yeah. I mean, I heard the owner of the Washington Wizards talking today just about the importance of successful sports to the community and bringing people together. And I do nothing, football Saturdays are unique. You have a chance to have 60,000+ together 7 times a year. A lot of big events that happen at institutions happen around college football weekends. We had homecoming our last home game, and there's just college boards and foundation boards, and there's just it's a great time to rally.
Well, and one that even comes to mind, but you won't be on again before the Athletics Hall of Fame event that's coming up in a few weeks, right? That's just another one.
It is another one, yeah. No, and obviously we're doing that a little later with a very specific purpose.
That's right. That's right.
And that's a great class, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, more on that coming up, by the way, that recognition of the class that's been announced. But one thing that I did want to ask you, too, to kind of zoom out a little bit is we have not talked with you since both Grateful Ducks and Shoe Ducks, or Shoe Duck, I should say, that has come to fruition now. These things take a long time to plan. There's a lot of moving parts. And I'm curious, Rob, from your chair, to see 2 endeavors like this in one season, only at Oregon.
Agree. Only at Oregon, and both were extremely successful. Record days at the Duck store, at the Autzen Duck store, record days at the Nike Eugene store. And just to see folks lined up on Fridays when some of these items went on sale was pretty incredible. And you're right, it's a huge collaboration with Nike, with Pooh, with Brooke, with Kenny. And so much goes into the licensing, to the retail, to the team, to have it be successful. And the Grateful Ducks and Shoe Duck were so unique.
Yeah.
And they're just one of the great things about Nike is the storytelling. The ability to tell an incredible story and history through apparel, through a uniform, through a helmet. And both of those really resonated with our fans.
Well, it's cool to see all the hard work pay off. I mean, if I told you told me, I know what I would think. If I told you 10 years ago, hey, by the way, if you ever looked at a topic sorted news system, right? So everyone's got you scroll through to music or movies when they're in your news curation, right? How about the fact that the University of Oregon football team was #1 in music news?
Wow.
That's saying something.
That is saying something. Right. You land on something when you start hearing from people who aren't fans,
right,
who aren't from the area or even from the region, who say, hey, how do I get one of X?
Exactly.
And
your phone blew up.
My phone blew up. And it just wasn't sneakerheads. It wasn't just sneakerheads that want a pair of the shoes. It was everything from the bomber jacket to the tie-dye sweatshirt, to the hat, to the corduroy hat. It was everything. And kudos to everybody for making it happen.
I joked about this on the air, but I actually heard from someone that was like, so you're going to do a like Dead & Co's going to do a cover of Shout, right? I'm not kidding you. That's what stuff like this does.
Yeah. No, 100%. And there's just the music got played for a week, the Dancing Bears,
right.
The story of, Nancy's yogurt. I mean, there were just so many people were reminiscing about their experiences with the Grateful Dead at Autzen.
Did the Bears walk by your office at any point?
If they did, I was probably behind closed doors because I did not see it. But.
So that was the moment where I was like, wow, this only happens at the University of Oregon, where Scott and I are sitting here having a conversation in the studio, and you just see the Bears walking by, and I went, well, that would only happen here. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah,
there we go.
Timeout. When we come back with Rob Mullens, construction updates. I know it's a big topic for you, right?
Oh, it is a big topic. Well, there was a big flag hung up there for the Grateful Duck, too.
Big flag. We got a lot more to cover. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens with us here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack and Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens here in the Country Financial Studio. Construction updates. How you doing with construction?
Doing good. There's a lot of people out there working hard. Obviously, as the weather starts to turn, you want to get as much inside as you can. So
it's amazing.
Kudos
to
to them.
Go up.
It is. It's happening fast, and I see them moving steel, and when I go into Dan's office, there's a lot of work happening right outside of it. So kudos to the team.
We talk about the new indoor practice facility there, but also even you go across the street at the Jaquith Center, right, and you see the new Hamilton dorm going up or coming down and going up, and the new home of beach volleyball.
The new home of beach volleyball locker room is open, and then now we're going to start to see the facility come to life.
Has there been a period in your tenure at the University of Oregon where there is not a construction project?
I'm sure there's been a short window, but it does feel like we're always doing something, even if it's just a turf or moving the outfield fences in at PK Park or it's we're always trying to make sure that we have first class facilities and that we maintain them the right way.
I ask it tongue in cheek because that's just part of this.
It is part of it, and obviously it's starting to change some now that $20.5 million of your revenue goes to student athletes, but that'll still be a key element to making sure that you have everything you need to give these young people the opportunity that they want to train at the level that they expect.
Talking about the student-athlete experience, well, let's jump into a few of those different sports. Soccer season is wrapped up. First year under Coach Joyner since
Yeah,
last
yeah,
time.
she did a phenomenal job. Obviously, we were so close in so many matches, and the record may not reflect, how much the team came together and how well they played. But I think there's, one, beating the top-ranked team in the Big Ten at the end was a great way to finish. And I think Tracy and team have laid a great foundation for the future of Oregon women's soccer.
Duck volleyball head coach Trent Kersten coming up here on today's show in a little while. But how about the way that they have competed? I mean, I just want to put this in perspective for everybody. Like, one returning player from last year's roster, and I still think if the tournament started today, they're in it.
They should be. With the ranked wins and in the way that they've played an incredibly tough conference schedule. This league is, as we've discussed, the best there is. But to go on the road and win against a ranked team, and we'll have some more opportunities down the stretch. But this team is right on that bubble, and with the right finish, and this is the kind of team, as you said, with one returning player. If you can get into the tournament, that experience is exponential for you going forward.
And a relatively young team.
Oh, no doubt.
By all
Very
measures.
young. Yeah.
A lot of returning student athletes for next year. So you think about how valuable even those extra practices are.
Very much so. And obviously the continuity of the staff and the system. And this team, similar to soccer, you've seen the growth and progress very visibly throughout the season, and that's what you want.
Women's basketball season underway. Ducks are 1-0. Kelly Graves has made a habit of that. He's 12-0 in season openers.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
That's great.
So
last night was dominant.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. Women's basketball season, I think, is going to be a fun one, to put it mildly.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad you agree. Men's basketball tonight. What do you think?
I'm excited to see. When you have the three returning starters, that's a big piece. And then it's always fun to see the new additions and how it all fits together.
Yeah. Dave asked in the comments, by the way, who are some of the new players that could have breakouts? I think this is what excites me about this team. There's a lot of candidates for that.
There are. And at a lot of different positions, and are going to play a lot of different roles. And we all know this is Dana's genius, right?
Yes.
Taking all these pieces and tinkering with it and finding, the ones that work versus whatever matchup.
Here's a couple for you that I know you'll appreciate. Stats, we like numbers. Think about the fact that Dana Altman, if the Ducks win 20 games this season, and it might be more fair for me to say when the Ducks win 20
I like
games
that.
This season, because in all 15 years under Coach Altman, the Ducks have done that. They've won 20 games. That means Dana Altman will have 800 career wins.
That's awesome.
He's at 780 heading into this season.
Hall of Fame coach.
Hall of Fame coach. And will be a Hall of Famer at two different D1 institutions as a basketball coach.
I would think that's highly likely.
That's pretty amazing.
That is, he's had an amazing run, and we've been so fortunate to watch it up close and see exactly how his teams develop. And in late February, March, no one wants to see the Ducks on their schedule.
That's right. Well, basketball season, it is crossover season, so I thank you for taking the time. I have to ask you a very hard-hitting question.
Look out.
To conclude. Now, there was a large debate that went on amongst our students. Shyla is shaking her head right now as our intern.
She lost the debate?
No, I think she was on the winning side. We'll get a further update with Coach Kersten here coming up. But you are somebody that has embraced the electric scooter.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was an early adopter.
Okay, I want everybody – can you look at the camera and tell everyone that? Early adopter, Rob Mullens.
Very early adopter, and it was fun to, when they were first to be cruising on campus and have people take double and triple take. Who's the old guy on the scooter?
But it was more efficient.
Oh, so much more efficient.
Okay.
I could go my office to Matthew Knight Arena in under 10 minutes if I hit the crosswalk right on Franklin.
I can do studio door to my office in Allen Hall in 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Door to door.
Yep.
It's amazing. You talk about just the difference in efficiency. I've figured it out now because I've done it for 3 weeks. I have saved on average about an hour and a half a week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just going back and forth, basketball practice.
Now, are you going to be a fair weather? What are you going to do when the rain hits?
I'm riding it today.
I like it. Let's
riding
go.
It tomorrow. That's what rain gear's for.
You got a souped up one, or what's your max? 20?
20.
All right, that's good.
What's yours?
Well, I've 22, but I've heard from my sons that they're getting a little A little more
a little quicker. Yeah. Well, I can tell you that when I have like my backpack on, I go a little slower.
Right.
There's a little more weight.
Yeah.
So the hard-hitting question for you, though, because I knew you were an early adopter,
Yes.
which I really appreciated. But now with the amount I go back and forth, like, it's helpful.
The Frohnmeyer Bridge is it is so simple.
And lit with the nice green and yellow lights.
Oh, very nice. Thank you to the McNallys.
Yep.
No doubt. And again, if you hit that Franklin crosswalk light right, it is money.
You're there. Okay. Do you say scootering or scooting?
I don't know that I say either, but if
Really?
I were to say one, I would say scootering.
So you're scootering across the river.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've had.
I would say I'm taking the scooter across the river.
Okay, so taking the scooter. Yeah. So we have since worked on our definitions. Scootering is a more specific term. Scooting is also acceptable.
Okay.
However, the volleyball team helped me out with a poll, and it was 9-0 for those that responded in Trent Kersten's poll, scootering. None of them say scooting, nor would they accept scooting as the descriptor.
Okay, I like the science behind that.
But I thought you would be one that could weigh in here, so I appreciate your expert opinion.
Well, I thank you for allowing me to give it.
Anything else fans should know, Rob?
Well, the only other thing I said, since I've been on here last, we've put a few more academic All-Americans in the floor at Jayco Center. 3 softball players and a baseball player about to go in. And that's one of the great traditions here at the University of Oregon in our academic center. If you've made an academic All-American, you get your name engraved on the floor, on the first floor, for everybody to see forever. And so the unveiling of those is pretty cool.
Yeah, really, really awesome. That's one of the cooler events that occurs.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I do appreciate the expert opinion.
Hey, whatever. I just like being called an expert on something, even if it's riding a scooter.
That's right. When we come back, Trent Kersten, an expert on volleyball. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself. Hey, and if you
All right. We have some hard-hitting debates here.
Good.
Going on. Trent Kersten, Oregon Volleyball head coach, has come in. So I just told our mutual boss about the fact that we got overwhelmingly crushed in your team's poll.
Yeah.
And by the way, the screenshot that Coach sent was like within 5 minutes of him posting the poll. 9 student athletes all said scootering. It's definitely not scooting.
Yeah, we lost that one.
Did you get any further, conversation around it?
It's one of those things where you don't ask follow-up questions on things you don't want to hear about.
I get it. I get it. Look, I'm not saying that one is more superior. I'm saying that they both are accepted. Scootering and scooting. And now, Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens just said, well, I would say I'm taking the scooter.
Yeah.
Okay. I like scooting is the most fun to say.
Such a elite veteran move by him to not pick a side and to create his own, side that gets both right.
You're so right.
That's why he's so good.
You're so right. he, by the way, was an early adopter to the electric scooter.
Yep.
So I thought that he really confirmed, okay, this is something that I can do.
Yeah.
Coach, how you doing?
Good.
Review the weekend for us.
Good. Yeah, really tough night for us at Washington. It was just one of those games where we didn't have our best in pretty much every single phase, and so that's tough. It's tough to watch. It's tough to kind of be at terms with, because we've been playing so well for 2 straight weeks, and at the same time, it's like, okay, what are the lessons we can take for this? The message after the match was, do we want to own the car or do we want to lease the car, right? And so owning the car means you got to take it, you got to change the windshield wipers, you got to change the oil, you got to clean it out, all that stuff. Leasing, you can just return it, like whatever. It's not yours at the end of it, right? And so if it doesn't work out, it's not yours, you return it, and the reverse, again, is owning it, and it's yours, and you have to continue to take care of it even when times are hard, right? And so hopefully that's what we're doing right now. Had a good training session this morning, but then got to go to Nebraska, who's clearly the best team in the country right now.
Do you think so?
It's not close.
Really?
Yeah, it's not close. And we competed really well. I'm not huge on what do you call it? Moral victories.
Yeah. I hear you.
That's not really what we're here to do, because if we're not willing to start talking about championships, I feel like we're missing the boat.
Sure.
Right? And so, yes, are we behind? Yes, 100%. Are we starting to catch up? I think Danny would tell you that. Danny's the head coach for Nebraska, would tell you that we're catching up faster than anyone thought we could. And I think that's exciting, and I think it was cool that we competed really well for 2 sets, and third set we just couldn't tread water for long enough, and they were that good. And so, for us, it's just about, okay, if we're going to continue to own the car, what are the things that we need to address, and what are the things that that our craft or that our game is telling us that we can make a little bit of progress in, and that goes into every phase, whether it's on-court training. I just met with our performance staff, and how do we get a couple more % before these 4 weeks are up, and to put our team in the best possible position to be competing at their best at the end.
Well, you mentioned some of it there. I was going to ask about some of the takeaways and where are your building blocks now moving forward? Because you're into the stretch run, I guess, as we would say, right?
Yeah. I think, there's some areas that we needed to address and got exposed in from both matches. I think we got to defend the out of system a little bit better in a couple different zones. We got to defend the red a little bit better, specifically in zone 1. We have to, have a little bit better selection on some shots. But when you play a team like Nebraska, who's, by every metric better than you, you got to be okay with taking a higher risk. And so a higher risk from the service line, higher risk from an offensive standpoint, and hopefully you can put 3 sets together to compete at a high level, right? And so I just thought in the third set some of those higher risk situations caught up with us a little bit, and then we were a little bit higher air than we needed to be. But then you have some awesome takeaways from that match where you've got Holly McFadden, who is hitting 500 against 2 All-Americans.
Right.
And for
Pretty good.
Pretty good. And for people that don't know, Holly was supposed to redshirt this year,
right,
and is now going out and performing like that in that environment, against really, really great volleyball players. And so I think there's always something you can take from it that's oh wow, this went great, and this was a good moment for this person, and all those things. And Sophia Myers continues to play at a really high level, and all that stuff. And it's okay, let's see how quickly we can get back to playing our best brand of volleyball, which we had been doing for probably 2 straight weeks.
Well, you bring up a point. We've talked a lot in these conversations about hey, the zoom out, right? Like the experience. It's a young team, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd imagine now this team is like, no. Like, we're ready to, let's do this now, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can imagine that that's part of this now, right? There's that urgency at the end of the year.
For sure. I think there is. I think there's urgency with, senior night stuff. We have senior night on Sunday. I can't remember. So I think it's this weekend against
Sunday,
Michigan State. Yeah. And so, like, there's the pressure of that and families in town and all that stuff. And, you get to the Halloween, right, which we've talked about, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, okay, what are the things that we need to do? And we've got to have such urgency with those couple things. We're not changing who we are in the next 4 weeks, but can we get a couple % better in, some key areas to give ourselves the best shot in December?
Well, on Thursday at Matthew Knight Arena, back at home, it's televised on Fox Sports 1 against UCLA, and then you mentioned Michigan State Sunday, 1 o'clock. Nice to be back at home, I'd bet.
For sure. Yeah, that's a really interesting road trip to go to Seattle and then Nebraska.
Yeah, quite the bounce.
Yeah. But again, it's what we signed up for. And so, yeah, I'm saying it's interesting. Sorry, my phone ringer is obviously on. But it's the arenas that we want to be in. Like, we want to create what Nebraska has created. We want to start to talk about championships. We want to start to talk about sellouts more and more often. And so, they've laid such a great blueprint for everyone else in the country. And we're not going to turn into that next year. How do we take 2 steps? And how do we take 2 steps again the next year?
UCLA Thursday, Michigan State Sunday. I'm curious, just in general, what do you want to see? I mean, there's all these specific things, right? But sum it up for fans. Like, what are some of your keys here in this homestand?
I think serving needs to be, our strength. It's been our strength all year, and sometimes we're a little bit higher than I would like, but we produce points from the service line, unlike most teams have the ability to. And you saw that against all the teams that we play, specifically Nebraska, and I thought Val started to light it up from the service line, which was really good to see, and so I'd like to see that. I'd like to see our defense execute a little bit better. I'd like to see a few better decisions offensively to increase our hitting efficiency as a team. So I think if we can address 2 of those 3 things, that would be a big step for us and allow us to compete at a higher level this weekend.
Well, here we are talking about a team that's 13-9. I still say if the tournament started today, you're in. It's nice to be in that conversation here in the month of November.
Yeah, for sure. And, we have everything in front of us because of the conference that we're a part of, the best conference in the country, and because of the opportunities that we still have remaining of, playing against a bunch of top 30 or 35 teams left.
UCLA, Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue, USC, Michigan, Rutgers, Maryland, the opponents. I'm here to tell you that all of those teams are probably in the top 68 in the country.
Yeah, for sure.
He's Trent Kersten, Oregon Volleyball head coach. Coach, it's always fun. Thanks for catching up with us.
Thanks for having me.
Scootering.
Or you take the Rob approach and you just...
Taking the scooter.
Yeah, taking the scooter. I think that's a veteran move by him.
We're taking a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little women's basketball after their win last night. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs, and for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously. The best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Stuck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon Volleyball in action as their season down the home stretch. Now Oregon women's basketball starting out 1-0 with a victory last night. Tell you, it was a dominant victory for Oregon women's basketball. A 100-59 final over West Georgia. Let's hear a little bit from head coach Kelly Graves, who moved to 12-0 in season openers as the head coach of the Ducks. I think when you win, you start out 1-0, you're usually a pretty happy coach. Right, Coach Graves?
It wasn't the shooting performance that you were hoping for. When you have a shooting performance that you're not really looking for, but you have the defense that you did in the first half, how does that balance out?
Well, we just lost a little focus second half. I mean, first half it was fine. We didn't shoot it all that well, but we defended. I mean, that was our biggest strength. Second half, we just kind of stopped doing that. I give them credit. They lowered their head, started penetrating on us, and we didn't handle it very well. And we also ran 13 players in and out, and that's never that easy to kind of get synergy. So I would give them the credit. And then they hit some threes. That kid kind of went off, and we were slow to adjust to her. And I don't think she's made nearly that many in her career. I'm not sure, but that was one I didn't have on the bingo card. But anyway, again, give them credit. But in the same token, we had some players really play well tonight. I thought Katie Fiso, did a great job, got us started, and then, in the second half, she became more of a distributor, and that was nice. I don't know how many turnovers they end up with, a bunch, right? Yeah, well. Yeah. So, if we had 30 assists, 6 turnovers, we'll take a 5-to-1 ratio anytime. I think it really came down to our lack of intensity in the second half defensively, and then just, a tough night shooting the three.
First half, you guys only allowed 18 field goal attempts against. You've already kind of mentioned the turnovers, but just for first game of the season, when maybe you guys are still looking for your own shot, what did that defensive intensity mean to you on the sideline?
Well, I don't know how many points off turnovers we had in the first half. Do we have a total? It was a lot, right? 20-something? Yeah. But in the first half, and we're going to have to do that with our defense. We're just not going to out-muscle people. We're not going to be bigger than most teams. So we're going to have to create some stuff off our defense, and that kind of got us out and going. We just, like I said, kind of had a tough night. I thought we had great looks. I mean, we had a lot of practice threes, and they just didn't go tonight. That's going to happen.
You talked about the pace a lot, the upper 70s in possessions in this game, and obviously you turned them over a lot. Do you guys have a goal number of possessions you want per game? Is high 70s kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah, it's funny, those teams that actually run a ton, their possessions aren't that much more, So yeah, anything in the high 70s I think is a pretty quick game. Now tonight we didn't draw fouls, and that's always been one of our strengths up until now. We've got to do a better job of that. I thought we were just settling for a lot of jump shots. But yeah, we want to play a high possession game. It's hard to put a number on it because some nights, and I thought they did a good job of taking shot clock, and when they didn't turn it over, they made baskets, right? And we never really got them in that second half to kind of speed up. And but there are going to be nights when we're going to get really high possessions because the other team's going to want to go with us.
I wanted to ask you about Mia's performance and just kind of her picking her spots, 7 and 12. Just kind of never felt like it was the loudest points, but
yeah,
pretty effective.
Yeah, she had a nice stretch in the, I think, was it third quarter? After the second time when they came in the third quarter, I think. Yeah, she's going to be that way. She's not a flashy player, but she's a very productive player. I would have thought she would have gotten a few more rebounds tonight. But, yeah, all in all, a good game. I thought Katie played a really good game. Sarah got in foul trouble, so she didn't play a ton, but I thought she was okay too. We had some players play well. Again, I think it came down to like we've already talked about.
How deep are you comfortable with Sarah shooting? True freshman, I think she was just a couple feet in front of the logo on one of those. And
if it's in the half court, she can shoot it, and she can really shoot it. That is.
Your freshmen coming in, and both of them, weren't afraid to shoot today. What did you make of just how they came in their first official action?
Yeah, I think it was great. It's good to see them both get their first, real college baskets, and they're both really good players. We don't want them to, just because you miss a few, you don't want to, tell them to quit shooting or anything like that. You just got to let them go and hope that, they get on a roll. But, yeah, it was really good to see that they, in their first game, real game, did what they did. So
Mia and Avery both not afraid to shoot the free ball, even though they might have not made as many as you hoped. Can you talk about the threat that they present to?
Well, there are going to be some games, and we've had a couple, the Seattle U game, and then the other night where we've been, we made a ton, 14 and 19 in those two games. And, so we're going to have some of those nights too, but we just have to rely on sounder defense, a lot more toughness. I thought they were driving. We didn't step in and take a single charge tonight. Those kind of things we just got to do on the nights that we're not shooting it well.
This is the 12th time in 12 tries that you've won your season opener with Oregon. Basketball, in a sense, kind of seems like it starts in the middle of the night, and by the time people come off football, it's like, oh, they played a bunch of games. But for you in the starting the season, what's your favorite part about today, and what will you take away with you from this season opener?
Well, you can take a deep breath knowing, okay, we got this thing started, and I think we've got a pretty good basketball team. To me, the highlight is everybody got in and most scored. I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't really looked at it close enough. But everybody had a chance, and they got in and did what they do, and then we can build on it. Also gives us some videotape. There's some things we got to get better at. Now we can show them. We've got to do this better and this better. But we did this well and this well, so let's keep doing this. So that's what it's for, opening night. And I thought the fans were good. I'd love to see our students come out and really get into it because they make a big difference. I think
They do make a big difference, don't they? Kelly Graves, Oregon women's basketball head coach. How about that? Everyone, deep breath now. The season is underway for Oregon women's basketball. Tonight, Oregon men's basketball gets underway. 7:30 tip-off. Myself and Luke Jackson back on the call with a 7 o'clock pregame show. It's also on Big Ten Network. Look forward to seeing everybody at Matthew Knight Arena. Tomorrow, we're back with more Oregon football on Duck Insider. See you then.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there. Sunny and 75. Almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the